number of you commented last week that during my presentation on this spot, I talked about East and West having to get real and to be respectful and to learn how to deal with each other in new ways. You said, give us an example. You're a thinking do tank. What do you do? So let's talk about two things today, cyber security and climate security. To some people, those may both be new concepts. Cybersecurity is now moved up in the national security doctrines of most major nations as being equal to the threat of nuclear war. Cybersecurity is really serious, and it comes not just from state actors, but also from increasing threats by non-state actors. The economic system is fragile. We live in an internet economy. We live in a cyber economy where enormous damage can be done by any one of a number of groups of people. That would be catastrophic. There are all kinds of problems. If you're in Egypt or you're in China, you're worried about child pornography and how do you stop it, and yet the Western legal systems make it very difficult for cooperation with nations that have different legal standards. So the question is, how do we begin to deal with this? Well, the Institute a year and a half ago put together a worldwide cybersecurity initiative, which works with China, with Russia, the United States, and others, and is doing some really significant lifting in beginning to deal with practical ways of how do we come together in the international community. How do we reconcile our differences between East and West and deal with things that we see are common threats, whether that's cyber crime, which threatens all of us, from our banking and transactions and our personal information safety on the internet to much uglier things. Climate security, what is that? Climate security, the fact is that the climate in many parts of the world is changing, and in fact it's going to lead to large-scale displacements of people as water dries up in certain places. Foodstuffs therefore can't be grown, and mass migrations of people, in some cases estimated to be 30 to 50 million, something unprecedented in human history. How are we going to deal with that? We have the capacity to grow more food. There's plenty of water, but a lot of it is in the wrong places. There's a lot of dirty water that needs to be cleaned. There are a lot of these kinds of issues. But this all has implications for stability, for security, and for human safety. And here again, how do we get the East and the West together? I was at a meeting recently where someone was saying, let's talk about the most important countries about climate security. And they were naming all the G20 and all the big Western countries. And I said, what about Bangladesh? What about some of the countries in Africa who are going to have this major problem with water? What about in the Himalayan watersheds, which is going to lead to a huge set of problems? The Institute has brought together in Southwest Asia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Tajikistan, and other countries from the region to actually work together for the first time on creating a system whereby they can actually deal with the water, with the more limited amounts of water that they're going to be having to do, and not have to look at it in terms of going to war. The international community is going to have to focus on this in new ways. So this is what we mean by getting real. This is what we mean by being a do tank between East and West.